From our home offices, as the Republic newsroom is still on lockdown, I'm Richard Rellis here with columnist Bob Robb. Good to see you again, Bob. And numbers keep getting tossed around as bailout packages get discussed. Trillions of dollars. And you raised the question of how are we going to eventually pay for all this, and what does it do for our nation's economy coming out of this?
Yes, the spigots are wide open, not only on deficit spending, but also monetary expansion. What worries me is that no one is thinking that there ought to be any constraint about that, or thinking or worrying about what the consequences are the day after all of this occurs. The deficit this year, according to the latest Congressional Budget Office projection, will be $3.7 trillion. That means that the federal government, in very rough terms, is borrowing 50 cents of every dollar that it is spending. And that's 3 times as high as the deficit ever got in the attempt to recover from the housing bubble recession. This occurs at a time when the federal government is going to have to be increasing its debt to repay the Social Security Trust Fund and the Medicare Trust Fund, which are due to run out of funds in 8 to 14 years. And the federal government has to turn over its debt. It's the average maturity of a federal debt instrument is only 6 years. So what's going to happen when, after we get past what we're in, we put out the tin cup and say, hey, folks, loan us more money. We want to keep spending. I think people need to start worrying about that.
There has been some discussion of just this V-shaped recovery that is going to just soak all this money back into the coffers. Is that how an economic recovery works?
I don't think that's the way this economic recovery will work. I think that the combination of the number of businesses that will have failed, and so you're going to have to recapitalize the small business community. You're going to have to reemploy and redeploy the low-skilled workforce, which have an economic incentive to stay out of the labor market until after the end of July, when the increased unemployment payments are made, combined with what's going to be a reticence of consumers to re-engage with their past patterns of consumption and going out to restaurants and to movie theaters. So I think the recovery is going to be slow. I think if we can get it started, it will be steady. But at the end of the day, there's going to be all these IOUs. The Federal Reserve is buying large amounts of federal debt, just creating money, plans to blow its balance sheet up twice as high as it was to try to cope with a financial crisis after the housing bubble recession. So that's at some point in time that has to have consequences, both for the ability of the federal government to pay its debt and manage its debt and borrow more money, and on the value of the dollar. It's something that I think we shouldn't wait until we get there to start asking the question, is this a sustainable path, and do we need to restrain what we're doing now? Particularly since I don't think it's going to be particularly effective. I don't think you get the economy going until you allow the economy to get going, and we're not there yet.
Right, and I guess at the very least consider that question officially asked.
Yes.